The law that that I was responsible for getting passed here is called the Magnitsky Act, and the Magnitsky Act sort of goes to the Achilles heel of these guys. They steal money, they kill people, they steal money, and then they keep their money in the West. And we came up with this idea, which was that we might not be able to prosecute them for killing in Russia, but we could get their assets frozen in the West. And for people who kill for money, having their assets frozen is a pretty big sanction. So we got this law passed, first in the United States, then in Canada, then in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and then here. And it took a long effort to get all these laws passed, but each country, as they passed them, then started to sanction people. In the U.S., there's now 150 people on the Magnitsky list. In Canada, about 70. I think a little less than 70 in Lithuania, 49 in Latvia and Estonia.
Which in layman's terms means they can't... Sorry, carry on.
And zero here.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my point.
In layman's terms, this means that they can't bring their ill-gotten gains into Western democracies and start buying up apartment blocks and yachts and Ferrari cars and art as well, and all of the things that people who've got more zeros after their name than most of us have in our phone numbers spend their cash on.
Well, that's what it's all about. These Russian gangsters, and when I say gangsters, I don't mean the guys with the gold chains. I mean the guys in the suits who are ministers in the government of Russia. These gangsters, their whole modus operandi is to steal money in Russia and then live it up here in London and Paris and New York and Madrid. And that is what they like to do. And you see them everywhere. You can hear Russian being spoken in Harrods and in Belgravia and walking down the Champs-Élysées in Paris. That's what these guys like to do. And by taking that away from them, it's not justice in terms of prosecuting people for torture and murder, but it's a lot better than total impunity, which is what these people have been enjoying.
So what's going on? You're based in London. The Magnitsky Act was, the seeds of it were sown in London. It was passed in London, and not one person here has been held to account by it. What's happened?
Well, my theory, I can't get in the heads of government ministers, but my theory is, and I have evidence to back up my theory, is that this country is, or the political process in this country is polluted by dirty Russian money. And when I say that, I mean that there are members of the House of Lords, there are former government officials who are on the Russian payroll, who are getting money from Russia to ease sanctions, to make sure that these sanctions don't bite, to make sure these sanctions aren't applied. And I believe that that money has created a situation where zero people have been sanctioned here, whereas in other countries where perhaps it's not as polluted, a lot of people have been sanctioned.
And you mentioned to me, I think when we first met, that there was in the upper echelons of the Conservative Party in particular, the kind of people who were most likely to benefit personally from the laundering of this money in Britain would have connections in that section of society.
I don't even think it's a partisan thing.
No.
There are former there's a member of the House of Lords who is a Labour member, and there is a member of the House of Lords who's a Conservative member, both of whom we are on the record publicly having taken money from Russians to keep Russians off of sanctions lists.
Is there any, I'm glad to make that clear, is there any context in which a British politician could be agitating against sanctions for reasons other than personal gain? I mean, is there a philosophical or a political basis to their position?
Well, in my opinion, there is none. However, the people who are doing it will always come up with a philosophical reason, and the philosophical reason is, hey, we need to engage these guys. You know, we can't just isolate Russia. And they've been saying this for years, and at the same time, Russia has been murdering people in Salisbury and in Grosvenor Square and laundering their money all over the city and doing hacking the U.S. election, cheating in the Olympics, and doing all sorts of other terrible stuff. You know, Russia has a malign influence, and all these people who say, hey, we should just, engage with them, we should have conversations with them. It's completely a weak argument, and it's either a stupid argument or it's a corrupt argument.